Road skills and road strategy is where it all starts here on MCrider. Two simple concepts that can take a lifetime to master. This week on MCrider, we're going to discuss the foundation of road strategy. If you aren't doing this well, all of your other road strategy techniques are going to suffer, and you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage out on the street. Stay tuned, because at the end of the video, I'll share with you one tip that will be a good indicator if your road strategy is effective or if you need to make some adjustments in that category. Hey, my name's Kevin. I release a weekly video here on MCrider focused on road skills or road strategy to help make you a better rider. Hit the subscribe button and that bell icon to get notified of all new videos, or head over to MCrider.com and you can watch every video ever released on MCrider. In this video, we're going to look at several tips to improve your vision on the road, which is the foundation of having a good road strategy. Then we'll talk about some advantages that having good vision affords us on the road. And finally, we'll help you perform a quick test to see if your road strategy is effective for you. Let's start this video with an experiment. I want you to find an object in the room and stare at it. Look at it in a way so that your eyes stay centered in their socket. So if I'm looking over here, I'm going to turn my head and look at it. I want my eyes to stay centered in the socket, not turning them like this. Once you do that, notice the visual information you can take in with your eyes. So you're focused on one particular object, but what are all the things around it? What can you see around the object that you're staring at? And what other visual information can you perceive? So let's perform it. Let me perform it here with you, and I'll talk out loud what I can see here in my workshop. So I'm turning my head and eyes, and I'm looking over here to my left, and I see my winter riding jacket. So I'm kind of staring at the elbow of that winter riding jacket that's hanging over there. So I can see, without moving my eyes, I can see a rain gear that's hanging next to it. So I've got a fluorescent yellow rain jacket. I can also still see the camera where you guys are at, right over here. I can see a light here. I can see a light over there. I can see a window directly behind the camera, and I know that it's still daylight because I can see light out there, but the blinds are closed. There's blinds covering that window. I can see that little stand underneath the camera that's holding the camera up, and it's painted red. I painted that red. I can see the table that stand is sitting on. So I can pick up a lot of information about, what's in my immediate area without ever taking my eyes off of what I was looking at. But okay, now that we've done that, I want you to look at that subject visually again, and then I want you to move your eyes as far to the left or the right as you can without taking your eyes off your direction off the subject. So I'm just going to move my eyes, and I'm going to look as far over to the left as I can. All right, so over there I can see that light that I was talking about a minute ago. I could tell that light's on the floor. I can see a garage door over there. And that's really about all I can make out of that. All right, now if I turn my head and eyes and I look, I can see another light that's lighting up the background. I can see the garage door. I can see a couch. I can see the wall that's directly behind me. So notice how much more visual information I can pick up when, instead of trying to use my vision just by turning my eyes, I'm pointing my nose, or I'm looking in the direction that I want to actually see. So notice how much more visual information is available to you when you turn your head and you look at the object. By just turning your eyes, you can see the object, but you don't get nearly the detail of the surroundings that you do in the environment when you actually turn your head and look at it. Now, you've heard me say on this channel 1,000 times, turn your head, or look where you want to go, or more specifically, point your nose in the direction that you want the motorcycle to go. Not only does this magically help the motorcycle go there by looking at it, but you can see from this simple experiment how much more visual information we're feeding our brain when we actually do this. on the street, this is vital information that we need to be aware of. Maybe there's a car sitting in the intersection. Maybe there's a child standing right next to the side of the road, or maybe someone spilled oil all over the road. If you don't turn your head and look, really look where you're going, you're decreasing the odds of ever seeing important information that you may need. Our peripheral vision is good at seeing motion, so I can see that motion, but our central vision is good at picking up details. So when I actually turn my head, I can see my hand a whole lot better and pick up details on it that I couldn't see when I was just using my peripheral vision. These details are often the difference between staying upright or sliding on the pavement. The default position for our eyes is in the center of our socket, just like I had you do at the beginning. Anytime you're turning your eyes left or right, you're degrading your ability to see details. Look too far towards the corners of your eyes and you lose significant details. So turn your head, point your nose where you want the motorcycle to go. Not only will the motorcycle magically go there, but you'll have a whole lot more information about that area when you actually arrive. So how do we put this into practice when we're rounding a corner? So if I'm approaching a corner and I have my head and eyes turned to where I want the motorcycle to go, I'm looking for that exit of the corner. So if I've got my head and eyes turned, I've got this huge stretch of road right there that I can't see very well because I'm having to use my peripheral vision for that. And that's where a lot of riders make mistakes. They turn their head, but they don't feel comfortable because they can't see all of this information right here. So I want to give you a couple of tips that will help with that. There's two things that you can do. First is you're approaching the corner. So I'm approaching this corner to my left. Look through the corner. So what do I mean by looking through the corner? I'm scanning in front of the motorcycle. I'm looking through the corner. And then before I reach that corner, I've got my head and eyes turned and my nose pointed in the direction I want the motorcycle to go. But I've already scanned visually through that corner, looking for potential obstacles along the way. Another thing that you can do is you've got your head and eyes turned. That's a lot of material to cover real quick. You're visually scanning it, but you can turn your head and eyes, pointing your nose in the direction you want the motorcycle to go. You want to keep them there, but as you're going through the corner, you've got it leaned over. I don't know if you could see my eyes or not, but I'm visually, so I've got my head and eyes turned. I'm visually scanning back through that corner. I'm not turning my head to look, but I'm just scanning through that corner. So is there gravel in that corner? No, gravel's all good. Is there an animal in that corner? No, everything's good. I'm pointing my nose in the direction I want the motorcycle to go, but I'm giving myself reassurance by just moving my eyes real quickly to scan through that corner again and reassure myself that that corner is cleared. On the track, you don't have to worry about that because they keep the track clean. You know, if there was something in that corner, they'd be waving flags and stopping the race. But out on the street, there very well could be something in that corner. So just doing that visual check, just think of like a yo-yo. You know, I've got my eyes out, the yo-yo's out here. I'm going to scan back, not moving my head, but I'm going to scan back through that corner occasionally just to check it and to reassure myself. But 80 to 90% of my focus is out there. So what happens on the road if you've got your head and eyes turned and you're going through a corner? You see this all the time in training. Rider will initially turn their head through the corner, but then they'll do this, looking through the corner to visually check. So they're turning their head and eyes to look to make sure that corner is clear. So what happens is they come up to that corner, they lean the motorcycle over, it starts to lean over, everything looks good. They look back this way, the motorcycle stands up. All right, so now they're off their corner. Then they look again, the motorcycle leans back over. They look again, motorcycle stands up. So their corner looks like this, right? They're in and out of leaning the motorcycle over and standing it up. And it's because they don't have the discipline to keep those head and eyes turned, looking through the exit or for the exit of that corner, and just using their eyes to scan if there's something potentially that they need to be aware of in the road. So some other ways that you can improve your vision on the streets with your lane position and following distance, right? So if I've got a car here and I'm directly on their rear bumper, right, I can't see around that car. So just by backing up is going to help. And then your lane position. If there's a curve, let's say there's a curve going to the right, if I move my motorcycle over to the right portion of that lane, I can see past that car and I can see all the way through that curve. Same thing, curve going to the left, I can move over to the left portion of the lane, I can see through that corner so I can pick up hazards a whole lot quicker. So your lane position, your following distance has a huge impact. And also avoiding blind spots. So if I'm approaching an intersection, let's say there's 2 lanes of traffic, I'm approaching an intersection, I've got a big truck right here. If I get right off that right bumper, I've blinded myself to all of this information that's over here on this side of the intersection. I could back off more, that's going to give me more vision, or I could get in front of the truck before the intersection, and that's going to give me a whole lot more vision as well. So your lane position, your following distance, and avoiding potential blind spots on the road is a huge advantage. Another area where our vision really impacts our ride is the problem with target fixation. And target fixation is not only a problem with potential hazards, but also if we become lulled into the ride or just stare up the road without keeping our head and eyes moving. So have you ever been reading a book or watching an intense scene in a movie and everything in your peripheral vision disappears, right? You're staring at that book, you're really intent on it, and everything around you disappears. Well, that's essentially what happens when we fall susceptible to target fixation on a motorcycle. Our mind and our vision lock up, and we only see the hazard. And remember, the motorcycle is going to go where you look, and if you're fixated on the object of your doom, not only will you hit it, but your mind will not be given any information about a possible escape. So take a racehorse, for example, right? They've got blinders on, and those blinders keep them from seeing anything that's not important to them. The jockey puts that on there on purpose to keep them from seeing the crowds or the horses coming up from either side. The only thing that matters is what's ahead of them. The only thing that matters is the finish line. Well, how scary would it be to ride a motorcycle with blinders on? You lose all that information in your peripheral vision, but that's exactly what we do when we stare with no particular purpose up the road or at a hazard in the road. We put blinders on ourselves, and that puts us at a huge disadvantage. So keep your head and eyes moving, right? Keep your mind active by being visually active on the road, checking those mirrors, checking to the left or the right, to make sure that the road ahead of you is clear and that you can pick up all that information that you need. So what does having good vision skills do for us on a motorcycle? Well, the biggest thing it does is it allows us to ride ahead of the motorcycle. Instead of reacting to a hazard at the last second, we see it well up the road. This allows us to make adjustments to it before we need to react to it at the last second. Have you ever watched a good pool player, right? There's more to playing pool than just making the shot. It starts with making the shot, but a good pool player will not only make the shot in front of them, but they'll also leave the ball in a place where it's easier to make the next shot too. Riding with good vision allows us to be those pool sharks of the road. It allows us to see the hazards early, to make adjustments, and to move on to the next potential hazard, all without ever needing to put ourselves at unnecessary risk. So how can you tell if you're riding with good road strategy? Well, have you ever said this to yourself? Man, I'm tired of cars pulling out in front of me all the time, or everyone on the road is out to kill me. Now, it could be the reason you're saying that is you just hit a stretch of bad luck. Maybe you happen to find several inattentive drivers in a row, or maybe you're suffering from bad road strategy. If you find yourself saying this or feeling this on a regular basis, it probably is your road strategy that's the problem and not the cars around you. Good road strategy will make up for a lot of mistakes that other drivers make on the road. It won't solve every situation, but it will definitely reduce the number of bad situations you find yourself in on the road, and it all starts with using your vision well. The picture of a good rider is one who develops their riding skills on a parking lot and then rides with a strategy where they rarely need to use those skills. Good road strategy starts with good vision. It's not the end of the story when it comes to road strategy, but it's definitely in the opening chapter. If you'd like more tips on developing your road strategy, go to mcrider.com/road strategy for an entire playlist of videos to help you hone in on your road strategy and tips to help you ride safer. And until next week, guys, it's Kevin with MC Rider, and I'll see you on the road.